Our beautiful planet. It is magical. It is ours to experience. It is ours to explore. It is ours to enjoy. It is ours to conserve and share. Over the decades, tourism has been growing. In 2019, the total number of international tourist arrivals reached 1.5 billion worldwide, UNO 2020. The economic growth of developing countries has played a major role in the growth of global tourism. China and India have been experiencing significant increases in the number of international tourist arrivals. In 2019, China welcomed 65.7 million tourists, while India received 10.9 million. According to the data from the China National Tourism Administration, CNTA, 2020, the number of outbound tourist departures from China in 2019 was approximately 155 million. Approximately 6.01 billion domestic tourist trips happened in China in 2019. But with growth in tourism comes responsibility. Sustainable tourism is crucial to ensure that future generations can enjoy the benefits of tourism while preserving the environment and the cultural heritage of the destinations we visit. We need tourism that balances economic, social, environmental, and cultural considerations in a way that ensures long-term sustainability for the tourism industry and the destinations it operates in. To understand sustainable tourism, we must understand sustainable development. According to the World Tourism Organization, sustainable tourism development is development that meets the needs of present tourists and host regions while protecting and enhancing opportunities for the future. In other words, it's about ensuring that tourism is developed in a way that doesn't harm the environment, local culture, or community. Unfortunately, not all tourism is sustainable. As tourists, we often don't think about the impact our travels have on the environment and the local community. We must ask, what is the impact of unsustainable tourism on the environment and the community? Sustainable tourism is part of a broader concept called sustainable development, which refers to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It's an approach that takes into account the economic, social, and environmental dimensions of progress, and seeks to balance these aspects in a way that is equitable and just for all. While economic growth is necessary for human progress and well-being, it often comes at the cost of environmental degradation, social inequality, and loss of biodiversity. Question 3. How do we work towards sustainable development and sustainable tourism? Hunter, 1997, discusses 4 different approaches that can be taken towards sustainable development. The first approach is called sustainable development through a tourism imperative. This approach involves focusing heavily on developing tourism in areas where there is a strong link between poverty and environmental degradation. The second approach is sustainable development through product-led tourism. This approach prioritizes the development of new tourism products and maintaining existing ones, with environmental concerns taking a backseat to the economic needs of the industry. The third approach is sustainable development through environment-led tourism. In this approach, the environment takes priority over marketing opportunities. The goal is to promote ecotourism that relies on maintaining a high-quality natural environment. Lastly, the fourth approach is sustainable development through neotenous tourism. This approach aims to minimize the utilization of renewable and non-renewable resources in areas where tourism is non-existent or relatively low. It's important to consider the potential impacts of tourism on the environment and the community when making decisions about sustainable development in the tourism industry. By adopting sustainable tourism practices. Now that we have a better understanding of sustainable tourism, let's take a look at some of the current challenges facing the industry. One of the biggest challenges is managing the balance between economic growth and environmental sustainability. While tourism is a major contributor to many economies, it can also have negative impacts on the environment, such as overuse of natural resources and pollution. Sustainable tourism requires finding ways to support economic growth while also minimizing these negative impacts. Another challenge is balancing the needs of tourists with the needs of local communities. Tourism can bring economic benefits to communities, but it can also disrupt local cultures and ways of life. Sustainable tourism requires finding ways to support local communities while also meeting the expectations and needs of tourists. Lastly, there is a need for better regulation and management of tourism activities. Without proper management, tourism can have a negative impact on the environment, including damage to natural habitats, wildlife, and cultural heritage sites. Sustainable tourism requires a coordinated effort between governments, businesses, and communities to ensure that tourism activities are conducted in a responsible and sustainable way. Now, let's recap what we've learned. Sustainable tourism is about balancing economic, social, environmental, and cultural considerations to ensure long-term sustainability for the tourism industry and the destinations it operates in. Sustainable development is a concept that refers to meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The challenges facing sustainable tourism include balancing economic growth with environmental sustainability, balancing the needs of tourists with the needs of local communities, and better regulation and management of tourism activities.